Pretending to be something you're not. Hi, I'm Ann Margaret with this week's Sacred Sunday message to raise the vibration of your body, mind, and spirit. Today's talk, we're going to explore the concept of authenticity, and I really see it like a value, how to shed those layers of inauthenticity, and then also explore the battle between the ego and the soul when it comes to this very topic. We'll also spend some time when you're facing defamation from another, defamation of your character from somebody else, and what to do, and a few tools and takeaways to navigate this very challenging experience in life. People talk, right? Betty Davis said, if everyone likes you, you must be boring. So thanks so much for joining me for today's Sacred Sunday message. At the end, we're going to pull two cards that are intuition cards to further access the subconscious wisdom as well. So let's get started. So authenticity, to me, when I first heard this word and really grasped it, it was in my early 20s. And I'd heard the word kind of tossed around, but I didn't really understand the power of this concept in our lives. If you don't know what authenticity is, and it's okay if you don't, it's good to be authentic about not knowing because then you can learn. Authenticity is when who you are, what you're saying to yourself in your own head, what's coming out of your mouth to other people, how you're showing the world, and who you are truly inside is a match. That authentic shedding of all pretense, shedding of all lies, that authenticity is such a superpower. And I'll go ahead and go into why this is so powerful. You know that when you tell lies, I remember when I was younger and I would tell a lie, I'd have to remember what the lie was, who I told it to. It's a very disempowering way to live our lives. And unfortunately, too many of us don't graduate from that childish exploration of pretense in our lives just to look good or to avoid punishment. We carry this with us into our adult lives. So it is one of our greatest superpowers, telling the truth, being authentic, not only in your personal life, but in your professional life as well. One of our biggest fears as humans is how we're being perceived by others. And in the description of this talk, I said, it's very important to see, what face you're showing the world, because if we're concerned about how other people are thinking about us, then we're going to lose our own power to be free to be us, to be free to be authentic, to not have to be this person for one person, this person for another. And then we feel like we have a split personality because we're trying to be different people for different groups of communities in our lives, or maybe somebody different for our parents versus our spouse or our kids. How do we truly be our authentic self for everyone in our lives? This is a superpower because it takes away so much energy that we have to spend trying to please others or be others' projections or expectations of us, and instead do the truly self-loving practice, which is be authentic. Be authentic, excuse me. So when we're lying about who we are, when we're lying, and I'll get into defamation in just a little bit, when we're lying about somebody else, this robs us of not only our authenticity, our power, but it robs us of a sense of inner peace. If we're lying, if we're talking about somebody else and it's a lie, these lies begin to stack up, and then eventually it's like the avalanche that takes us down. But it's a very good thing if you have been lying about somebody else, if you have been inauthentic in business or in your personal relationships. As I discussed in last week's talk, the universe, God, whatever you believe in, nature has a way of balancing itself, and it truly is a gift. If you missed that talk, go back and explore that, just so you have peace around the transition from being false into being authentic, because it's essential for us to be free in this lifetime. So if you're plagued by someone else bad-mouthing you, if you're plagued by some lie that you've been telling yourself or telling somebody in your life, the greatest gift, even though it's really, really scary, is coming clean. Okay, so let's go ahead and explore a couple of really essential teaching tips and takeaways about this. So Authenticity for self. Why is this important? It's so critical for us to feel that freedom to be us. Uh, you think about anybody in life, they can have, I've worked with billionaires, I've worked with the most powerful people who own the biggest companies in the world, and I've worked with people who are barely getting by paycheck to paycheck. The undercurrent is the same. The desire is to be authentic, to be free, regardless of circumstances, regardless of how things appear from the outside. Celebrities know this more than anything else, and I've worked with some of the A-list celebrities, the biggest, the most famous people on the planet. The challenge is being authentic, and man, do they get attacked in the public, right? Defamation of character, we're going to get into in just a second. So the ego's desire, why this is important, it's the battle between the ego and the soul. So you think about the ego and the soul. What is the ego's desire? The ego's desire is to be seen by others in a positive light, regardless of whether or not it's honest, regardless of whether or not it's 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 a good thing. You know, we can compromise our value of authenticity, do things that are wrong just to save face for others. That's an ego-driven desire. Our soul's desire is to see ourselves in a positive light, to truly embody an authentic, pure version of who we are. We know whether or not we're being dishonest. Sometimes we can fool the world around us, but we know whether or not we're dishonest. So our soul, to have peace, to have a peace in your heart, to have a peace in your mind, is to be authentic and to see yourself in a positive light. If you've been lying, that positive light is compromised, that vision is tainted, and you know you will not be able to sleep well at night. Disease will begin to create in your own body and build and grow because you don't have the freedom of that energetic system of being liberated by your authenticity. So the soul's desire is seeing itself in positive light. The ego's fear now. What's the fear? The fear is rejection. We are driven with the ego's fear by the ego's fear of rejection. So we might be lying to ourselves, we might be lying to everybody else because we're afraid of other people rejecting us. Okay, if they see our true authentic self, we're afraid that we will be rejected, we'll end up lonely, and this is one of the greatest fears that humans have in their ego. Our soul's fear, and we don't talk about the soul having any fear. We talk about fear like, oh, it's terrible. The soul's fear is inauthenticity. That's the soul's fear. The soul is afraid of inauthenticity because if we're inauthentic, the soul has no chance at moving through the purpose in our life, at going at the pace of what we're truly here to do. We're on this path of pretense. And those of us who have been through this, we know, I mean, everybody's been through this, guys, we're human, trying to be something else for someone else or something else, and then feeling trapped, feeling gross, feeling like this is not true to who we are, okay? Now, how do we do this? We'll feed the ego with junk values. We'll feed the ego with money, with power, with prestige, with people's adoration of us. This is how we keep the ego going. So remember, the ego's desire is to be seen positively by others. The ego's fear is rejection, and the ego is fed by these junk values, these externally empowering sources like money, prestige, power. We want to think about what are we doing to feed the soul instead. The soul is fed by true nourishment, by true values, doing the right thing, being authentic, cleaning up messes, taking responsibility, accountability. The soul is fed when we acknowledge our separateness and we recognize that it is important for us to be true to our authentic self. Okay, so the tools, a tool about how do we distinguish how to be driven by our ego or by soul, is asking the question, what's the sacrifice? Okay, if you've been in this habitual pattern of serving the ego, the sacrifice has been made by your authenticity. You are actually having to be someone you're not. You're having to go to bed every night and wake up every morning being someone you're not, keeping a lie inside and not revealing it, okay? So what's the sacrifice if you're serving the soul. You might have to sacrifice, though, looking good. You might have to sacrifice being adored by people, because that superficial adoration is nothing without true authenticity. All right. But in sacrificing that adoration from others temporarily, you'll find out who your true friends are. Okay, let's move to now defamation, someone else's inauthenticity. Man, if I had this in my life, especially recently, I've had people in my own family, my family members defaming me. I've had people in my professional life defaming me. And really, anybody who is up to anything in this world, that's why I love that Betty Davis quote, is definitely going to be attacked. If you are getting attacked in your own family, if you're getting attacked professionally, remember these two quotes, okay? First one is the Betty Davis quote I shared before. If everyone likes you, you must be boring. The bigger your life is, the more risks you take, the more you are in the public eye or in your community's eye, the more you step out to be your authentic self, people will attack you. This is just how things go. When people are not comfortable in their own skin, they'll project onto others. Think about reality shows, and what we do, we'll get enjoyment out of seeing other people fail, okay? The second quote is, the axe falls on the tallest tree. All right, we can either avoid the axe altogether and never grow and never shine and never build our lives to really feel like we're embodying the purpose of making a true difference in this world. And we can be really afraid of all that, so we'll just kind of hide. Or we allow our own light to shine, be brave to take risks, to step beyond our comfort zone, to get in the public eye and risk that axe coming down on us. But if we're prepared for it, if we're prepared for that and what that defamation can look like, then we can handle it gracefully and we can turn it into our own growth and our lesson and then share it with others, okay? So with this, the tools about this is, the first thing I want you to ask yourself is, how do you feel about who you are, okay? There will always be people driven by their own ego who will want to see you fail. So, but how do you feel? Can you put your head on the bed at night, or the pillow at night, go to bed and feel at peace? That's number one. Number two is, whose opinion do you actually care about? Don't we give so much energy and stress about people who are judging us that we really don't respect? We shouldn't really concern ourselves with their opinion, right? So don't concern yourself about how other people think of you. Think about, how do you feel about yourself? How would you be proud of yourself if you were in front of God right now? Or if everything was revealed about how you were acting in the world, would you be proud of yourself? All right. The third thing to remember is that as you are you exposing yourself in an authentic way, the true friends in your life, and we know this when we go through difficult times, are those who know how to see through fabrication. People will try and attack your character, but your true friends are the one who see through the lies that other people are telling. Are you walking on eggshells around people? That's not an authentic expression of who you are. Be bold. Be free to be you, okay? It's easy to forget who's in your corner. So one of the things that I recommend for you to do is to remember who these true friends are in your life, because they are sometimes few and far between, is to remember who they are. Make a display. This is something that lives outside your mind, because when you're going through difficult times and you're getting attacked on all sides, and you have those squeaky wheel gets the grease people who are barking, barking, barking about this or that and making things up and trying to defame who you are and what you've built, it is important to remember who's really in your corner, because 90% of the people out there can be supporting you, but it's the 10% who are trying to take you down that you listen to, right? So remember to put their picture up around your apartment, make a collage. Great reminder of that. And lastly, and I'll talk about this in next week talk, Mother Teresa said, you can spend your lifetime building something that someone could destroy overnight. Build it anyway. Remember what you're building with your character and your life is your authenticity. Be true to yourself. And if other people want to destroy it or defame you, remember what's most important is how you feel about yourself. All right, quick, 2 cards. Una, easy does it, okay? There is no need to hurry or force things to happen. Everything's occurring in perfect timing. And Prince, light attribute, romantic charm, and potential for power. Remember, you guys, these 2 cards this week, and thank you so much for joining me. I'm sorry I'm rushing this time, but until next time, keep raising your vibration. Bye, everybody.